Chair. Now, I just want to take us back to the focus intent of this bill, because we haven't heard too much about that, unfortunately, in this debate so far. We've heard a lot of alarmist talk and scaremongering from the members opposite, emotive extremism and actually bordering on histrionics at times. But I actually want to talk about the bill, because that's what this part of the debate is about. It's about the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill, in case some of you have forgotten, because I actually don't think many of you know what it's all about. So I thought I would just take you through the background, Mr Chair. That's right, or those that were didn't show up all the time. It's actually about sharpening up the local government debate, making sure that in terms of achieving local government, because it's so important to have effective local government, because that, Mr Chair, is what we know builds strong communities. Strong communities are empowered by local government, where they not only have influence, have say, have access to transparent information, so that they are in a better position to influence the decisions of those who represent them. And that's why I want to spend a bit of time talking about what the Council is involved with and the transparency around that, about actually being able to provide good information back from a council around how they've been doing with some consistent performance measures, and also, you know, what most people would expect, Mr Chair, is a financial strategy of how ratepayers' money is going to be spent, and then a report back as to whether or not that was done. Now, one of the issues that did come up time to time in the submissions, actually it comes up a lot as an electorate MP. I'm not sure how many over there are electorate MPs, but there's a lot of constituents that I get through my door that talk about the fact that their greatest concern is the ever-increasing burden on their fixed income of rates increases. So there's measures in this bill that will actually provide those people the ability to have a say, to have a look at what their local government is doing. So let's have a look at a couple of them. So core services, for example, because we've heard some diatribe from the other side about core services, and I wanted to set the record straight about what core services are. And the intention behind the definition or the statement of core services, actually enabling the councils to have a focus on those core services. Never and nowhere has it been stated that a council is restricted to those core services, but it's really about creating a priority on those activities and then allowing debate by the people who live in that area, in that council boundary, to decide what other activities should occur. So economic development, for example, is one that was mentioned several times, and I thought that was an important one to touch on, because if I look at the Taupo electorate, economic development occurs quite differently in Waipa from South Waikato and from Taupo. None of the councils are not allowed to do economic development, but they are different priorities based on the needs of those communities, and that's what this bill provides. The flexibility for each council to work within the needs and demands of their communities. So if a particular community wants to invest significantly in economic development, then the local ratepayers get to make that call. They make that decision, which is exactly how it should be. In terms of core services, though, we don't want to have a situation where some of these activities that are not core take priority over the building of roads, for example. Every ratepayer has a certain expectation around having roads to drive on and water to drink. So that's exactly what we have in terms of core services. So despite the fact that we've had some random comments from the other side, it's communities making decisions around the activities in their community. And more importantly, Mr Chair, it's then in the activities like the pre-election report, the community then gets to see how the council's been going with the decisions that they have had input into. So when we have a local body election, and we've just had one, the voters are able to rely on solid information rather than just electioneering material, which, you know, the previous speaker talked about democracy. So I'm not quite sure why they can't understand that pre-election reports allow more information for voters to be able to make informed decision about who they're going to vote for, and then say that this bill's taking away democracy.